Hi all, this is Once a Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time we took on Pokemon Y with just a single Skiddo and that run was intriguing. Check it out if you haven't already. Today though, we take on a game that I haven't run a challenge in before as we see if I can beat Pokemon Crystal with just a single Wooper. Wooper, great type combination, but wow, these stats. 210 base stat total, our best stats being 55 in HP. Attack and defence are okay, I suppose. Special stats and speed, though, do get increasingly worse. Only Sunkern, Magikarp and Pichu, plus Metapod and Kakuna and their pre-evolved forms have worse stats in this generation. On the plus side, though, Water and Ground is a great type combo. One weakness to Grass, but it is probably going to be a fatal one, most likely. Also, we're immune to Electric. We resist Poison, Rock, Steel and Fire. Level up moves. Well, we do get Stab Earthquake, so that's not bad. Starting with a water move is okay too. Amnesia may be useful given how frail our special defence is. Nothing else really strikes me as useful though. Via TM, we really don't get much beyond Ice Punch, which could be some useful coverage. Return, Hidden Power. Sludge Bomb, hey, that could be useful for dealing with grass types. Rollout might be nice. Surf will probably have to be a definite. We can also get Ice Beam via Tutor, but it isn't until post-game. Predictions. We're giving the rival Chikorita to start, so that could be potentially brutal. Johto might not be that hard, particularly once we start getting decent coverage moves, but I have a feeling that the Elite Four might be a struggle, particularly Koga and more likely Karen. We will probably be able to beat Blue in Kanto, but I have a feeling Red's team, particularly his Venusaur, might be a bridge too far. Just those rules then. In combat, I can only use Wooper. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs but unable to fight. Only held items and Pokeballs in battle, but I can heal outside of battle. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. This challenge was suggested by Dennis Varker via YouTube. If you do have any ideas for future challenges, drop them in the comments section down below or follow the links in the description of the video to my Twitter or my Discord. If you do enjoy what you see, subscribe, like and hit that clear bell. Wooper is getting a regional variant in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Poison and Ground type. That's interesting. Here we are stuck with plain old vanilla Wooper. We use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Totodile with Wooper so that I can do the whole run with it. This gives our rival Chikorita, so that will be, without a doubt, the hardest one for us to fight. We nickname Wooper OG Mudkip because, well, it was the first one to have that type combination. I thought it would be funny. We begin with Water Gun and Tail Whip, which is a combination that does us no favours whatsoever. It's been a very, very, very long time since I played Pokemon Crystal, so it could be interesting remembering what happens where and what's different to Gold and Silver. I do a bit of training outside town with the intent of getting the next move, which is Slam, so that makes things slightly worse already before we fight the rival in Cherry Grove City. Now, he will have Chikorita, which isn't good. It won't have any grass moves, which is better, but at the same time, I don't fancy trying to water gun it to death, or at least attempting to. We have Slam, but I'm not confident, given that it has a 75% chance of success, and it feels like there's only a 10% chance of that. Mind you, Slam lands, and we crit Chikorita for a one-hit knockout, so there is that. I don't think Bellsprout Tower will be fun, so I head to the Flying Gym first, with the intent of taking on Faulkner. I'm not anticipating him being a problem. Gen 2, he was pretty straightforward, unless you're using a Ledybar, as we saw a few weeks back. Then he's absolutely horrible. A bit like his team composition in terms of creativity, to be honest. Pidgey is a 2-hit with Slam and Water Gun. Pidgeotto is a 3-hit. A Water Gun sandwiching 2 Slams. Well, I'll be amazed. Slam actually hit 3 times in a row. I don't think I've ever actually seen that before. After doing the stuff in Azalea Town with the Slowpoke well, I want the levels, so I go to fight Bugsy, because I think we've got no chance of beating the rival unless we are severely over-leveled. We've got more of a chance versus the Bug Leader, if I'm honest. Can you imagine if they named every gym leader like they did Bugsy? So you've got Flying Z in Gym 1, Normal Z in Gym 3, Ghosty in Gym 4, it'd have been interesting. Metapod is a 2-hit with water gun, but we get hit with string shot and tackle. Kakuna is also a 2-hit with water gun, going for Harden on the first turn and Poison Sting on the second, and of course it poisons us. I would not have expected anything else. Cypher at the end is worrying. Our slams do about a third of its health, but with Fury Cutter powering up and poison damage taking its toll, I'm worried about running out of turns. Thankfully, we don't die and we manage to take it down. One more turn would probably have ended us. Rival fight then, let's do this. OG Mudkip has amnesia, so I wonder if it's worth powering up our special defence on Ghastly. A risky strategy, given we could end up paralysed with Lick. We make a try on him directly after the gym and it goes badly. We get 3 amnesias up versus Ghastly and never get paralysed by Lick. Unfortunately, before we can go on the offensive, we get put to sleep for 5 or 6 turns and get a lot of damage inflicted on us from Lick. We can't one-hit Ghastly either, which isn't helpful. Bayleaf comes out and 2 hits us with Razor Leaf. Our one chance to attack with Slam makes a stunning return to form and misses right when we needed it to hit. Hate that move so much. It's a shame I can't get anything better until after this fight. I will get a few more levels and go again, raising up to level 25. I hope this is enough because grinding on the wild Pokemon in this area is pretty painful. We do make a second attempt and pretty much everything that can go wrong does. We get 3 amnesias up versus Ghastly. We are operating at a speed tie, so sometimes I go first, sometimes it goes first. We get those 3 amnesias going, then put it on red health with Water Gun. We haven't been paralysed so far until it wins the speed tie on what would have been the knockout blow and paralyses us with its last attack of Lick. Bayleaf then puts Reflect up, which means the blow we land does about a 6 of its health. We miss a second slam, of course, and then it crits us with Razor Leaf to end us. That just went terrifyingly bad. What level will I have to be to win? Third time lucky then. We try at level 27 and at least we are hitting harder each time. Ghastly barely does any damage to us with Lick, just 2 hit points at a time, but I am still terrified of paralysis. We get our 3 amnesias up and hit it with Water Gun, but it lands a Hypnosis at the second attempt and puts us to sleep for about 6 or 7 turns, meaning we lose the best part of a quarter of our health to Lick attacks. We take it down, but it is still quite worrying. We hit Bayleaf with a crit slam for most of its health while it goes for Reflect. With it having about a 1/5 of health left, I go for Slam, and it misses 3 times in a row, and I'm practically screaming all manner of abuse at the game for this, particularly as Bayleaf lands 3 Razor Leaf attacks, thankfully of which none of them crit. We do land the 5th slam to take it down. Zubat is a 2-hit with Water Gun, landing a Bite in exchange, which did pretty much nothing. We can get some good moves now, so hopefully this is mitigated in the future. At the department store, we buy the Ice Punch TM. Remember the meme about Ghastly and Kyurem and Ice Punch? Well, we don't have any arms either, so I can only guess it's coming from OG Mudkip's tail. Whitney is next, and I figure we might be set up quite well here. We can't be attracted because Wooper is female and we resist rollout, so we might be good. Plus, we do have Earthquake, so that should do a job. Clefairy comes out and we immediately smash it with that very move to one-hit it out of existence. So far so good. Miltank is faster and that is my biggest concern, you know, that we get stun-locked by Stomp. That definitely would not be good. We shrug off the Stomp though and go for another Earthquake, which it survives and then tries to hit us with rollout for pretty much no damage whatsoever. We brush it off and finish it off at the second attempt for the win. Whitney can normally be horrible, so that wasn't too bad. Anyway, I get to Ecruteak City and get the Surf HM before going to face the rival in the Burned Tower. We have to do this in Crystal before we can fight the Ghost Gym. I'm surprised to see that he doesn't leap on you as soon as you walk through the door in this game. That did take me by surprise. That honour goes to Eugene instead. When we do fight the rival, I figure we will be okay as long as we outspeed everything. Haunter is first, and despite it being 14 levels lower than us, it outspeeds and hits Curse. This bodes well for the Ghost Gym then. We take it out with Earthquake. Curse isn't bad, we just now have to one-hit everything and we won't take damage from it. Bayleaf is a 2-hit with Ice Punch. We also get tagged with Razor Leaf and take curse damage for massive HP loss over the course of this battle. Zubat, we crit with Ice Punch, and that is massive, before we outspeed and take Magnemite out with Earthquake for the win. That nearly went bad very quickly, I must say, but at least we made it. I wonder what level I will need to be to beat the Ghost Gym. I make a try at level 38. We have the Quick Claw on us, so maybe that will let us get a first move in somewhere. Realistically, I can see us being cursed and hypnotised in very quick order, maybe even getting wrecked with Dream Eater as well. We need to win this fight to advance the game though, so let's get it on. We outspeed Ghastly and one-hit it with Earthquake. Watch this space regarding Ghastly. Gengar is next, and we hit first to strike an Earthquake on it and take it out with one hit. I have to think that was the Quick Claw. First Haunter does outspeed and hit Curse. Yeah, it was definitely the Quick Claw on Gengar, but we down it with Earthquake. Before we outspeed the second Haunter and do it again. We take it out with Earthquake. That was easy. I figure I'll go and do the Fighting and Steel gyms next, given that there is a choice what we can do at this point. We should definitely be good for the latter, and I can't see us having too much trouble with the former. Chuck isn't exactly hard after all. When we hit Cianwood City, I have a quick fight with Eugene, which isn't in gold or silver, where we tear through his team in pretty quick succession, taking out his Drowsy, his Electrode and his Haunter with a single blast of Earthquake apiece. If he really did want to prove himself to Suicune, he went about it in a pretty bad way. Chuck then. His Pokemon can break bones and shatter stones, but let's see what they can do to a Wooper. We have to move through the gym, solving an admittedly straightforward puzzle involving strength, and then we face off with him. I don't like having to go into gym fights with an HM slave in the party, just in case we lose. Anyway, Primeape hits Leah, but is a one-hit with Earthquake. So far, so easy. Poliwrath takes big damage from Earthquake, but the game decides to screw with me. It lands Hypnosis first time, and then hits 3 Dynamic Punches in a row while we're asleep. I can't even work out the maths of that happening, but the game clearly did not want me to win there. Revenge time then, or at least that is the plan. Again though, it doesn't quite go to plan. This time, Primeape lands a 2-hit Fury Swipes instead of Leah before we down it. And that could go for us, we've not got drop defense this time. Again, Poliwrath hits Hypnosis the first time and lands 3 out of 4 Dynamic Punches. We wake up with 11 HP left, but hit ourselves in confusion for the loss. Maybe I'll go do the Steel Gym instead. I am not worried about Jasmine. I know I said the same thing about Chuck, but come on, what's she going to do to me? Fling a Magnemite at me when we're part ground type? Yeah, let's see how well that works out for her. Badly is the answer, as we crush the first Magnemite with Earthquake. Steelix is a one-hit with Surf before the second Magnemite also gets wrecked by Earthquake. I'm not entirely sure how that could have gone any smoother, but we've got 5 badges now. I might swing by the Lake of Rage and do the Team Rocket hideout. I don't believe in beating a dead horse. I'm not going to make a dozen attempts on Chuck at this point, just for the sake of it. While I am bumbling around the Rocket hideout, it seems as good a time as any to start talking about what's ongoing with the channel. At the time that you'll be hearing this, I will be halfway through a fortnight's breather from my day job, and unless something tragic has happened, no doubt I'll be feeling more relaxed. We've just had a week where I've uploaded episodes 10 and 11 of my Pokemon Mystery Dungeon playthrough. episodes 9 and 10 of my Resident Evil Revelations 2 playthrough, and potentially, I haven't made the decision at the time of writing, the first episode of my playthrough of Skyward Sword. It's either been that, plus episode 20 of my Fable Anniversary playthrough, or episode 21 of that too. Decisions. Made the plunge and bought Skyward Sword for the Switch. I'm hoping that my memories of this aren't as bad as I think they are. Seems good so far. Might alternate it through the week and do one episode of Fable, one of Legend of Zelda. We'll have to see. Next week we'll be carrying on my playthrough of Pokemon Insurgence, and I'm looking forward to that. Mind you again, by the time you've heard this, I'll probably have recorded them. I do all my recording a week in advance, so the stuff that will be up the week following this video will have been recorded the previous week. Challenge-wise, I am thinking of taking a break from DS-era Pokemon challenges for a bit. They are taking a lot out of me. I'll keep doing Gens 1 to 3 for the time being, but Gens 4 through 6 I'm going to rain check for a time. I'm not saying I'll never do another one, because I will, but they're a lot of work in a short space of time, and I feel like I need a bit of a recharge before I do another one. Next week will be a Halloween special as I take on Pokemon Fire Red to see if I can beat it with just a single Ghastly. Well, I did do Duskull a few weeks back in that game, so we'll see if the OG Ghost can perform any better in Kanto. We will have to see, I guess. Back to the game then, and it is time for the Ice Gym after we've gotten rid of Team Rocket. Might as well do this while I'm here. When I have, I will go back and deal with Chuck. I am annoyed that he destroyed our flawless record versus the gym leaders in Johto so far. I wouldn't have guessed at that when I was shooting my mouth off earlier. Let's do the fight with Price then. His seal goes down to a single earthquake. We repeat that act on Dugong, but he has the disingenuity to survive it and hit us with Aurora Beam before we finish it with Return. There's an easy way to do these things and a hard way, and I guess he picked the latter. We one-hit Piloswine at the end with Surf. Let's go get our revenge on Chuck then. Yeah, I know I said it before about revenge, but I think it's coming this time. We run all the way back there across pretty much half the map, and I remember to use the Pokemon Centre in Cianwood City before I go into the gym. If the worst happens and we do lose, I don't want to respawn in Mahogany Town. This time we are fast enough to outspeed Primeape and down it with Earthquake before it can do anything to us. We still can't one-hit Poliwrath, but it only goes for Mind Reader and we finish it off with a second Earthquake. Now, why couldn't it have done that when we were here before? Anyway, let's head back to Goldenrod City for the radio tower bit. We have to fight the rival in the underground, and I'm feeling pretty confident. As long as we don't get messed up by Haunter and or Meganium, we should be okay here. I wonder if those will be the famous last words. Golbat is first, and I call for an Ice Punch. Part of me wonders if that actually will be a one hit, but it proves not to be important as we get a crit. But the question remains on my mind. Meganium is out next, naturally, and we too hit it with Ice Punch while it chooses to go for Reflect. That could be a problem if I want to Earthquake something. Sneasel we hit with Surf for me to waste some time before I finish it off with Return. Magnemite goes down to Earthquake before Haunter comes out as the Reflect fades. It is faster than us and hits Shadow Ball, but we take it out with Earthquake. That could have been a lot trickier than it actually was. We did get lucky. There's a lot of story stuff before we get to the next major fight. Technically, I suppose the Archer Light fight in the radio tower is a major fight, but I'm not covering it. So it's on to Blackthorn City and the Dragon Gym. I think we will be fine versus Claire's Dragonaires. They won't be a problem. I find that out in the gym as it is a pretty good gauge. Kingdra could be unpleasant though. I think we will be able to take it out, but it's a case of how quickly and how painful it will be. Now, the first Dragonair we one hit with Ice Punch. So far so good. The second one though, at exactly the same level, survives Ice Punch and paralyses us with Dragon Breath, which is pretty annoying as we do get tagged with a second attack shortly after. Just as I was feeling pretty smug in the knowledge that we were immune to being paralysed by Thunder Wave. The third Dragonair also hits us with 3 Ice Beams after we get fully paralysed, doing massive damage, before Kingdra comes in at the end and hits us with Surf to finish us off while we are weak. That did not go to plan. I blame the damage range. I get to level 60 and I go at her again. This will surely tip the scales on the damage range. We had to be leaving it at 1 or 2 hit points before. Now this time we'll end it, surely. This time we sweep through her Dragonairs, one hitting each of them in turn, one after the other with Ice Punch, and it's a massive relief to go into Kingdra healthy. It is faster than us though and hits us with Smokescreen, but we land our Earthquakes to eventually put it down, even when she drops the heal on it. We never miss a blow and we can free hit it. I am thankful for that. As bad as the first attempt went, this was better. We get to Victory Road and have to do the final mandatory rival fight of the game. Let's get this on and see how we go. It's not gone too bad so far, the Azalea Town one aside. This one goes well. Sneasel is faster but fails with Screech before we down it with Earthquake. Meganium is a 2-hit with Ice Punch despite wiping out over half our health with Razor Leaf. Golbat is a 1-hit with Ice Punch. Kadabra, out next, is a 1-hit with Earthquake despite it using Future Sight. We're on the clock now. Magneton is a 1-hit with Earthquake. At the end, we outspeed Haunter and 1-hit it with Earthquake before the Future Sight can land and hit us. And we're through to the Pokemon League. As I stand in the Indigo Plateau at level 65, here are our stats. These are very much not good. Defence is okay. Attack is marginally not as good. Everything else though is pretty worrying, especially that speed stat. I can see us needing another 10 levels or so, at least. But I guess we'll see. If you want to take a guess on whether I can do it at this level or not, comment away now! Psychic Trainer, Will, is first, and I guess we'll have to see how this goes. He does have an Executor, which I hope isn't going to be a massive issue. Anyway, we stroll out to face him and the battle begins. I very quickly realise that there is an issue. We get outsped by Xatu and blasted with Psychic. We 1-hit it with Return, but it's not a problem that will fade as the fight goes by. We 2-hit Executor with Ice Punch, getting a freeze. That could have been nasty otherwise, but I think it only has Solar Beam as a grass move. Jinx is next and it outspeeds us to hit a Lovely Kiss, which puts us to sleep, before it can blast us into oblivion with psychic attacks. 2 of those plus a double slap being enough to bring us down. So yeah, we're not ready then. Grind time. If I'm not ready for Will, then I'm definitely not ready for all those who come behind him. That's for sure. I don't think Lance will be that bad, but we've got to get to him. Koga and Karen will likely be awkward. I still believe that. Let's get up to level 70 and reevaluate the situation. I reach that level and head out to see what happens this time. I reckon if I outspeed, I 1-hit most of these, barring Executor and Slowbro, probably. This time goes a lot better. We are faster than Xatu. I don't know if it's the Quick Claw or not, and we take it out with Return. We 1-hit Executor with Ice Punch this time, which is nice, before we outspeed Jinx and deal it a mighty blow with Return for the knockout. Slowbro survives Earthquake narrowly, but only goes for Amnesia before we finish it with Return. At the end, the second Xatu goes the same way as the first one, getting banged out with Return. That's our victory and we can move on. Let us see how bad Koga will be. I know at least one of his team has grass moves. I think it might be Ariados. I think it might be Giga Drain. But I guess we'll see. Crobat will likely be outspeeding us. We could be level 100 and I could still see Crobat outspeeding us. Anyway, whether Ariados has Giga Drain or not is irrelevant as we one-hit it with Return. We down Venomoth with the same move, a single return to beat it down. Forretress survives Surf on a sliver, but we take it down with Return after it only throws up spikes. Crobat goes for double team, then survives our Ice Punch. He heals it, we do big damage with Return and then miss another Ice Punch after being poisoned by Toxic. He hits a crit wing attack, but our third Ice Punch downs it. We then wreck Muck with a single crit Earthquake. Whew! Bruno probably won't be that bad. I mean, we don't have a super effective way of dealing with most of his team, but I figure I'll just go for Brute Force. That seems as efficient a way as any of doing this right now. He starts with Hitmontop and we one-hit it with Earthquake. I didn't expect that. He goes into Hitmonlee and we also one-hit that with Earthquake. We do the same to Hitmonchan out after, despite it hitting a Mach Punch, and then for his fourth he goes for Machamp. This one survives Earthquake and he heals it. I have to take it out with a pair of Surf attacks. Thankfully though, it did miss a Cross Chop on us with its one chance to attack. Last is Onyx and we wreck it with Surf. Easy one if I'm honest. Karen won't be. Always seems like she's a problem. I don't think we'll one-hit Umbreon at the start if I'm honest, and if we get Sand attacked, anything could happen. Gengar and Houndoom will probably outspeed us too. I don't know if we'll one-hit Vileplume with Ice Punch either. Let's find out. Well, I'm right on the first and the fourth counts. We don't one-hit Umbreon with Earthquake and we get tagged with Sand attack. We have to use a second attack to do the job in finishing it off. Vileplume then survives Ice Punch, but not by much. We get hit with Stun Spore for the paralysis, and now I know I'm not winning this fight. She heals with Moonlight and then two hits us from full health with Petal Dance. Yep, let's hit the grind board again. I need a few more levels to hit harder here. I return to face her again at level 77. I think we will at least one-hit Vileplume now. I doubt we will do that to Umbreon though, unless we get a crit. Sand attack failing would be nice, but one of those two things happening is probably leaning towards unlikely. We still don't one-hit Umbreon, we get Sand attacked before we take it out. Thanks to that Sand attack, we then miss Ice Punch on Vileplume and get paralysed by Stun Spore. Most of our health then getting wiped out by Petal Dance. We do take Murkrow out after being hit with Feint Attack, but we miss a Surf on Houndoom, meaning that it can down us with a pair of Crunch attacks. Our next attempt comes at level 82. Hopefully, we get the fortune that we need this time. I feel confident at least. I wonder how misplaced or otherwise that confidence actually is. We do massive damage to Umbreon with Earthquake, but still get hit with the Sand attack before we down it with Return. Versus Vileplume, we land the Ice Punch to knock it out, so we do go into her last three Pokemon without being paralysed. That is massive. Murkrow goes down to Return. Houndoom goes down to Earthquake. Well, it's not like I'll need the PP for that move for the champion now, is it? And Gengar also goes down to Earthquake. Phew! That was fortunate that our moves didn't miss. Time for Lance then. His Gyarados might be an issue at the start, but I can see the rest of them being smooth. Gyarados is the reason that I do have Return. Surf, Ice Punch and Earthquake aren't really great moves to deal with Gyarados. We too hit it with Return, only getting tagged with a weak Flail in the process, which doesn't do a massive amount of damage to us. We blitz through the Dragonite. OG Mudkip punches them out with her Frozen Tail, taking out number 1, number 2 and number 3 in very quick succession as they fall before the tiny Mudfish. Charizard is also a one-hit with Surf before Aerodactyl is last. Now, it does put up a fight compared to the rest of them, outspeeding us and landing a Hyper Beam, but it is a futile act of resistance and we down it with Surf to give us the victory over Lance. We pass up the chance to be interviewed on the Professor Oak radio show, his sidekick goes into meltdown and Lance takes us to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The credits do roll, but it doesn't mean we are done yet. Since this is a Gen 2 game, we've got an obligatory trip to Kanto to tackle the post-game. Now, we don't have problems with most of the gym leaders, but we will focus on the final 2 fights of the game, versus Blue and Red. I fight through Kanto to get to the Viridian City gym and take on Blue. We are in the low 90s level-wise by the time we get here, and I will probably need each and every one of those levels. We one-hit Pidgeot with Ice Punch for a swift knockout there. Executor is out next, and we hit it with an Ice Punch. It survives on red health and begins to charge up Solar Beam before we take it out with Return. Versus Alakazam, I call for an Earthquake, but it is faster and blasts us with Psychic. But when we do land the blow, it takes it down. Next is Gyarados, and we down it with a crit return before Arcanine is up next. We are faster and take it down with Earthquake. That leaves just the Rhydon, which we down with Surf to give us the final badge and an opening for the path to Red in Mount Silver. I am not going to lie, I have concerns about this fight. I don't think we'll outspeed Pikachu, which will leave us open to being hit with Charm. For Snorlax and Blastoise, and to a lesser extent Espeon, that's pretty bad, because they're both decent special defensively, and I'd be better off using a physical move versus them. I put the leftovers on and start my journey, hoping for the best. I have a feeling how we do versus Venusaur will have a massive impact on the fight. Okay, fun fact, level 94 is not enough. We are slower than Pikachu and get hit with Charm. We down it with Earthquake, but that is the damage done. We are also slower than Venusaur, which is really not good. Plus, our Ice Punch does less than half, and we don't get the freeze, which is enough for it to Solar Beam us out of existence. Screw it then, max level. Might seem an overreaction, but I think I will need it. I fight through the Elite Four half a dozen times to max out to level 100, and here are our stats. Maybe the Quick Claw would be better than the leftovers. Health recovery is nice, but I think if we don't outspeed Pikachu and Venusaur, we are doomed. We make half a dozen runs, and here they are on speed up. Each one goes pretty much the same. We get charmed by Pikachu and then one shot by Venusaur. There is 2 efforts in here that might have gone for us, but circumstances conspired against us. On one effort, Pikachu did fail with Charm, but we got finished by Venusaur very, very quickly. And on that other effort, Pikachu hit us with Charm, but our Quick Claw activated on the second turn versus Venusaur, which was the important one, meaning that we could 2-hit it with Ice Punch. We did take Espeon out with Earthquake and Surf, but Snorlax was a wall too far. With our attack cut and a Reflect put up courtesy of Espeon, I think it's probably a safe bet to call this one. I don't think it could be done. Maybe if I went and spammed double team, possibly, but I don't feel the inclination to do that. So, with that in mind, I bow out here. Well then, that ended on a bit of a sour note. I didn't want it to end like that, but we did most of it. Just that final hurdle that brought us down. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please drop a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. 7 out of 10 visitors to my channel over the last 365 days aren't subscribed, and I really want the channel to grow like a magnificent Dynamax Pokemon, only without the tedium associated with Dynamax. Drop a comment as well. If you have any ideas for future challenges, drop them away in said comments section, or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord, where they can also be flung at me. Join me again next time for another Pokemon challenge where I hit Pokemon Fire Red with only a single Ghastly. That one might have been done before, but I'm sure we'll have a spookily good time. What's going on with me? Just hoping that I'm getting rested and relaxed by the time that you hear this, with it being recorded a week aside. Just wanting to get some me time in. That whole thing about not doing DS challenges for a bit, it's not a lie. Challenges in Gens 4, 5 and 6 are comparatively a lot more work than they are in Gens 1, 2 and 3. And since most of my popular videos seem to be in the first 3 gens, that's going to be a bit more of a focus for the time being. That's the way I feel at the moment. I will come back to it when I don't feel so tired. I might have a month or 2 off them and then feel the need to do some more. I guess we'll see. Whatever happens, I am blessedly grateful though for everyone and anyone who does sit down and take the time to watch what I produce. I need this breather from work. Just a lot of chill and relax, not a care in the world at the moment. Just me and the doggo. Taking her for 3 walks a day while listening to podcasts on Spotify. Definitely doing my health some good, I reckon. I feel like we've definitely gone into full sour note here, so I am going to stop. Thanks for being here with me on this journey through Pokemon Crystal with the Single Wooper folks. I did enjoy it. Didn't feel like there was too much difference between this and doing Pokemon Silver, but it is what it is. This has been Once a Future Gamer. Take care now, folks. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now. So long.